When you see a married couple na hawajapata watoi, don't be quick to kuwauliza, nyinyi mnapata watoto lini? You know, be very careful with your words, you know, like because you don't know, maybe those people they are trying, maybe they are trying, they are not able to have any children. So be very careful. Saa zingine si kutaka kwa mtu, you want a child and maybe you're not able to, but uko hapo unapatiwa pressure because you know your friends and you could be saying a joke. Hello everybody, welcome to the beloved channel. My name is Lois Kiri and I am here with my lovely husband, and I will him introduce himself. But today we have a hot one. We have a hot topic that we want to talk about that I'm sure a lot of you parents will relate to. So stay tuned. And thank you so much if you are a returning subscriber. And if you're new here, just make sure you hit that subscribe button. You will definitely love our content. And yeah, so let's do this.
Hey guys. Hey, I'm the lovely husband. Yeah, and it feels great to be here. My wife has been trying to get me to come on the channel for a minute, and you know, leo ndio leo siku imefika. Najua mafan mmekuwa mkiuliza kila mahali kwa social media, kwa Facebook. I'm getting messages.
Leo ni leo, wasema kesho ni
uongo. I haven't been getting any messages, guys. I'm kidding.
Yeah, but for real though, it has taken a long time just trying to convince him to come and do a video with me, but finally he is no longer behind the camera. He is here with me and I'm super excited. And thank you, honey. Thank you so much for agreeing to
you're welcome, honey. It's my pleasure. I'm very honored. I feel like a guest of honor to be here. Kako wapi ka juice? Kwa wapi juice yangu? Tafadhali leta orange hapo.
Mkikuyu hardly amesema honored.
Ni honored. No, nimesema anyways.
But so honey, where are you from? A lot of people here don't know you, so please introduce yourself.
For those of you who know me.
Are you single? Are you married? Do you have kids?
Wewe ni wanani?
No, mimi najijua. Other people don't know you.
Yeah. This is my lovely wife. I am her lovely husband, and nafurahia sana kukuwa hapa. We've been married for 8 years. And we have 2 beautiful children. They got my looks and they got her brains.
Really? That was a good one. It's the opposite, guys.
It's the opposite. Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. They have your looks.
Oh yeah, they do.
They do.
Oh yeah. Especially
it's so
when
funny.
A
lot
of
people say they look like him, and I carried them for 9 months.
Yeah, you did a good job, by the way. And so yeah, that's my story, and I'm really happy to be here. Nimekuwa nikia like Abla amesema amekuwa kiniuliza nikuje hapa siku mingi, but unajua sana mimi ndio nakuanga hapo behind the camera. So saa zingine inakuwa ngumu kuacha kamera nikuje hapa hivi. Najaribungi but haiwezi wako. Unajua lazima kukuwe na mtu anaman hiyo kamera. Hallelujah. Yeah, so we have a very nice topic over here tunataka kudiscuss. And I hope you mtaenjoy sana.
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about parenthood. Parenting
101.
Yes. We are parents of 2, and it has not been easy. There's a lot of things that we have learned. Well, let me just say it's been easy by God's grace. But along the way we have learned a lot of things, starting from the moment we actually got pregnant to this point. You know, there's a lot that the Lord has taught us, and we wanted to share with you all, especially for those people who are planning to become parents, and for also those people who are pregnant and they are expecting their first babies. This is something that can just give you some heads up, some tips here and there, you know.
Before you continue, let's just, I feel like we are praying because my wife is talking. I'm here like, yes, thank you, Jesus.
Nakuanga na mchezo sana by the way. Babe, tuko kazini hapa.
Nahitaji vitu zingine za kusema badala ya yes. All right. Anyway, pole endelea.
Yeah. But yeah, so we want to share what we have learned. life.
Sasa ninafaa niseme nini? I will nod my head.
Nod your head. Anyways, like I said, we have a few pointers that we want to talk about, and I'm sure some of you will definitely relate to this because if you are a parent, you have definitely experienced one or two of the things that we are going to share and talk about. And we, of course, we wrote it down because it's we didn't want to forget any of
here. It's all here. This here put blank.
Kwanza ukiko wa parent you start forgetting things. Anyways, the only thing you remember is anything to do with your children. But not all parents, just some of us experience that. But anyway, so the first thing that I want to share, or did you have something else that you wanted to talk about before we begin?
No, we can dive right into.
Umesema umetoka wapi?
Yes, nimetoka mimi ni msewa huku mtaa wazee
huku mtaani wapi? Ulizaliwa
huku mtaa yetu ya majuu unajua. Anyways, mimi nimetoka Nairobi, Kenya. That's where I last lived before I came to the US.
Na nilienda Kiamutogo High School.
Babe, usiwaambie. Sasa unachoma. Nilienda by the way I went to a provincial school, you know. And I did very well. Nilimiss university na 1 point. 1 point to so
alipata E for effort.
Wewe. Nichokoze tu. Endelea kunichokoza. You know I know where you live. Anyways, yeah. So I finished school, nika Kenya kidogo. Then God gave me a calling to come to the US.
To do what?
Si to marry you. Mungu akaniambia nimekuwekea kamrembo America. Anyways, my brother was here, so I came here to be with him. And then eventually I met my wife. Na sasa here we are, many years later.
Many years later,
we have a you know,
nilimpasu.
Story for another day. That's a story for another day.
Anyways,
let's dive into it.
Yeah.
As you can see, I'm wearing my swimming costume. I'm ready to dive in.
Alright, so one of the things that I learned, and tuliongea about this, especially venye nilikuwa pregnant with our baby, with our firstborn.
I think actually
even before tupate mtoi.
Yeah, before tupate mtoi na pia vile tulikuwa hosi.
Yes, venye tulikuwa
actually like 3 days in the hospital.
Yeah.
When you know maternity, right? Yeah, those 3 days in the maternity. Well, it was no joke.
We give respect to every single parent. If you are a single parent and you have raised children all by yourself, kudos to you. May the Lord give you strength, more power to you. Because honestly, it's not an easy thing. I mean, starting from the hospital, ukipata mtoi, you know, just that whole process, kukua hapo tu peke yako, it's not an easy thing. And I know a lot of people have gone through that, and not everyone amekuwa with a partner in life. So
it's like as she said, when we were at the hospital, when mtoto alizaliwa, so every child is different. Our child was, anytime he was awake, he was mostly just crying and fussing, and you know alikuwa anataka kushikwa. And then saa zingine atanyonya alale, ama saa zingine watamchukua, but because what they do is they can come take your kid so you can get some time to sleep.
Some sleep, yeah.
Lakini if your kid cries too much, they have to bring them back, because now anaamsha watoto wengine. Na wetu alikuwa noisemaker, alikuwa anaamsha watoto wengine. So sisi tunafunga macho hapo kidogo tunasikia
knock knock. Oh, we brought your son.
Yeah, so it was just so we were pretty much taking turns. I would look after the child. She would, you know, she would get some rest and alala.
Yeah, but honestly, most of the times me nilikuwa nimelala. Hey babe, good job. Let me just say, you know what we say, let's give each other flowers when we are still alive. And let me give you my flowers, honey, because first of all, you're such a great dad. And starting from the beginning, honey, ulinisaidia sana. And nilikuwa ninalala most of the times, you know, especially ukishapata mtoto hauna nguvu, you are weak. And I mean, there's a lot of things going on with your body, and you also want to get rest during that whole process what you've gone through. But man, I'm telling you, my husband took over. Yeye ndiye alikuwa na mtoi. Saa zingine hata nashindwa mtoto alikuja lini, you know, nilikuwa hapo hivyo in my beauty sleep.
And you know, it's
alikuwa tu ananiamsha for me to breastfeed the baby, but he did most of the work.
It was you know, for those of you who have been there with your wives, your significant others as well, you know, they give birth. It takes a lot of a big toll on them, especially for her. It was a C-section, so that's even more, you know, because now she can't really move that much. She's in a lot of pain and a lot of medication, and it's not really stepping up to the plate, you know, like as you described. I think it's just as a parent and as a partner in life, even. You know, it's just you're there for each other, and I was there for her. I was helping her with the baby, and I was just in love with that child. To be honest, you know, it's a beautiful feeling. Ukiona katoto kako ndiaka, yani unakaangalia hivi unaona aka kama pua ni kangu, utu tu macho, hii ni DNA. Unaziona hapo chromosomes na zote unaziona.
Kiamotogo high school did you well.
Watu wa B nilimiss university na 1 point. But it's just a great feeling, and I really wanted her to get some rest because she had done a lot. Like even just throughout the pregnancy, the 9 months, babe, you are a champ. Yani kubeba huyo mtoto 9 months, going through the even a C-section, is still it takes a big toll on them. And you're amazing, honey.
Oh, thank you, honey.
But back to that point of single parents. Like as we were going through it, tunaona hiyo kazi yote, all it takes, and then so we were thinking like saizo venye, you know, when she was getting some rest, if you're there by yourself, you know, it's just it's so hard. And for those of you who are in those type of situations or have been in that type of a situation, I pray God give you strength, and I pray that, you know, he just brings people to your aid during that time.
Send you help.
It's a lot of work.
And sometimes you may look at it as though it's only women who go through this, but honestly, sometimes you might go as a couple and the woman ends up passing away, and now you as a guy, you're the only one who's left with your child, right? You still have to take care of that child. You have to feed the baby, because you still have to stay in the hospital until you're released, right? And first of all, you're grieving, you're going through a tough time that you have lost your loved one. Second of all, this is something new. This is a new experience that you've never experienced before. I want you to know that you're doing a good job. If you are in that position, if uko hapo, just know that the Lord will give you strength. The Lord will be your comforter. He's the one who will give you strength. He will teach you how to be a father. He will teach you how to be a mother, you know. And you don't have to worry about anything. And sometimes there's this fear that comes, like, Lord, you have entrusted me with this human being. Will I be able to take care of this baby? But guess what? The Lord brings all the help that you need. You might think that you don't have it in you, but imagine you have everything that you need to take care of that baby. You do. Because God, man, he has equipped you with everything that you need for that particular task.
Amen. The other thing we felt is like you experience love on another level that yani there's just no words to explain. Like I said before, the minute nilishika huyo mtoto like this in my arms, and I'm like, wow. You know, like you experience love on a whole different level. Like you think you have experienced love, and babe, usisikie vibaya, nakupenda sana.
It's okay. I see it all the time.
And you know, you can't help it. Ukishika, when you get those children and you see them and you hold them, and you're like, wow, it's such an amazing thing. Like this is a human being here, and you feel so much love in your heart, and throughout the whole process. That later on, as they grow up and wakianza kukula kichwa na kukusumbo, you just remember, wow, I love this kid, I love this child, and all I can say is it's hard to put in words. It's one of those things lazima
you have to experience for you to understand.
Exactly, you have to experience for yourself to understand. But please usipate watoto just so you can experience it. Get watoto saa zile you're ready for them kwa sababu
at the right time. But I wanted to add and say, I hear a lot of people say that it's usually not love at first sight. You know, ati ukipata mtoi, you don't experience that love immediately, and sometimes you have to actually hold the baby, you know, ukaekae nako kidogo, and then you start developing love on another level. We are not trying to say ati ni love at first sight, because at that moment mtoi akikuja, especially for me, I was out of it, you know, because of what I had gone through. For me, it wasn't like, oh my, you know, it was more of like, thank you Jesus, my baby is here safe, you know. And then now after that, sasa ukiletewa, that's when you look at your baby and you're like, man, this little human is my baby, like huu ni mtoto wangu, you know. And that love develops and you just feel so much love for that child, you know. But I just wanted to say that sometimes, I guess for every person is different.
Yeah, it is different. It is for different, me, but it was honestly, immediately. For me, it was by the way, when I just saw that kid. And it's for both of them. After the second
even
child.
The second one,
and even for the third one.
We don't have a third one, but yet. But for the second one, man, when I heard her cry, I just started crying. I was just super excited. I was like, God, thank you, Jesus. And I had not even seen the baby yet, you know. And I just started crying. I was so excited. Even the first one. But I guess because the first one I went through a lot, you know, like I said, I was on another, like I was so high in medication. So hata venye mtoi aliletwa nile niko like, oh, ulinileta bado ukaniekele hapa. Sa hizo niko so high. I am so sleepy. I have been dragged nile like high in love.
Ulifanya kitu saa zile unajifungua, ulikuwa na kachupa. Just kidding. The medication just makes you
it makes you high. The other thing, you become so sensitive to all children. What I mean is you know, before you have kids, sometimes when you see a child misbehaving, you're so quick to say, hey, mtoto wa fulani, hawajamdiscipline, wamemwachilia, mtoto ako katoto ni katukutu. Like you are so quick to speak something, not even negative, well, sort of, you would say it's something negative, right? But now that you have kids, honestly, I wouldn't want someone else to talk about my child that way. Like I would rather hata mtu aongee vibaya about me, but not my child, right? So I've become so sensitive towards any child that I meet. Hata saa zile maybe I'm seeing another child misbehaving, niko like, Lord, help this little boy or help this little girl. But I'm not quick to kujudge, kusema mtoto wa fulani yako hivi. No, because I know what it takes to be a parent, you know. Let me tell you guys, you be very careful with your words, because you don't know what it takes for you to raise that child, you know, all the effort, all the time and the teachings that you have put in to take care of this child. And sometimes the child, let me tell you, we are born in sin and we come out, we just want to kukua tu watukutu kwehia wekamehia just to do things that you're not supposed to be doing.
Naturally tunazaliana just being mischievous.
And that doesn't mean that your parent did not guide you, or your parent did not teach you the right things, or you know, they are not teaching you the ways of the Lord, you know. It's just that naturally we are born with sin, but eventually, let me tell you, God is the one who changes us and he makes us better, right? Don't be quick to say something negative when you see a child misbehaving or acting a certain way, you know. Just pray for that child, or tell them, hey, wewe haufai kufanya hivyo, haufai kuongelesha mama yako hivyo, you know, just be nice, you know.
And even on the side of you know, not necessarily mtoto could behave vibaya, but sometimes you're quick tangine ku point like, oh, yo mtoto akai vizuri, you know, like you can or you can like start comparing children, you know. Huyu ako hivi, huyu anakuanga kichwa ngumu, yule ni mzuri, huyu ni mrembo. You know, you become sensitive to those things kwa sababu every time you just think like, oh my goodness, that could be my kid,
that could be my child,
know? And even also ukiona like watoto saa zingine people mtu like akishika mtoto a little bit rough kidogo hapo akimwambia wewe, you know, you become sensitive to such things. You're like, oh my goodness. And even just in general, like we noticed when watching movies or maybe any type of news that involves children, you know, like before, like now it really affects you when you watch a movie that involves children, and they end up getting hurt or suffering in any way. It's like too much. Where before you're like, was it really affecting me this much? You know, even when you hear news, like saa zingine hata, you know, all those to videos you see around going on the internet, whenever there's a video talking about how a child or someone gives a testimony of what they went through as a child and they were mistreated, like it hurts so deeply.
It touches you on another level.
Because everything just goes back to your kids. You're like, oh my goodness, that could be my child. The other thing is that it takes a lot of input as a parent. You know, in the sense that watoto ni kazi mingi. I won't even lie to anyone out there. Raising a child is it's a lot of work. And you know, because they're not like a program you can just program things and then they'll do whatever you want them to do. They're human beings, and they react and they change, and you know, they disappoint you sometimes. Sometimes you're tired. Your kids don't care you're tired, you know. You want to take a nap, they just want to have fun. Wanataka tu kucheza, kuruka, kukusumbua. And so as a parent, it takes a lot of input on your part, of which that's how it should, because think about it. You're raising this person to be, you know, to be a grown up, and you have to feed them. You have to feed their bodies and their minds too. And you know, you will see this when you become a parent. Kids don't learn by what you tell them. It's really by
observation.
You can tell them all you want to tell them. They will learn through that, but mostly also what you're doing. So you become,
they are little imitators. They imitate everything that you do, and even what you tell them. Actually, sometimes when we tell our boy, you know, you're not supposed to do this, don't do this, and then they find us doing the same thing we've been telling them they're not supposed to do, they come back at you and like, mommy, but you're not supposed to do this. You know, they're telling you the same thing that you've been telling them, you know. So they learn by watching, and of course by what you teach them, but they learn mostly by watching.
Watching. So watch yourself around your children, because they see everything.
Be very careful.
Oh my god, there's nothing they miss.
Wanaonanga
kila kitu.
So the other thing that I learned is that there's no specific formula of taking care of kids. And I learned this especially when
there is, babe. MC squared. Guys, we have a manual on how to take care of kids. You can buy it on our website.
Buy it on our website. We'll teach you how to take care of kids. Now we're kidding. There's no specific way of taking care of kids. So I remember when our little boy was a few months, it was so hard putting him to sleep. So I remember this one time I managed to put him to sleep, and I was like, oh, okay, so this is all it takes. And I think we had bought we actually bought a ball yenye tulikuwa tunakaa tuna bounce until he fell asleep. So I was like, oh, okay, so all we need to do is just sit and just bounce him for just a few minutes and he'll go to sleep, right? The next day niko like, now I have mastered this, all I need to do is just bounce him, ako sawa. Man, the next day when you try the same thing, this boy is screaming like you've pinched him or something, you know. Like, what happened? I mean, what changed from yesterday, you know? So there's no specific way of doing some things. But you learn as you go, because these kids are just different. They're different. Know, they're and very different.
Like that ball thing. We tried the ball.
It did help for a little while, and then after
we tried some
it just
walking with that. You know, tulikuwa tunatembea naye kila mahali. That worked for. So you have to be. You become very creative.
You become creative.
Coming up with different ways on kusaidia huyo mtoto kulala. And back to that point. Sleep training is important, guys.
Oh yes.
That's like, I think that was the biggest thing for us raising mtoto.
One of the accomplishments.
What? Kwa sababu ilikuwa kuamka tu usiku. Tulikuwa tunaamka saa zote after every 1 hour, si ndio? Tunaamka tunaenda tunamchukua pamoja.
Yes, unakumbuka, guys. Not like, true. So
no, I was waking up the first, you know,
the first weeks,
the first few weeks, but then it got to a point where hata nikiamka I can't really do anything to the child
because I'm the only one who's breastfeeding and then putting the baby to sleep. So we actually realized when I wake up and I take care of the child, it's much easier, and for him, he takes care of the child during the day. So that worked for us.
We are doing night shift and day shift. So I would do the night shift. And then no, she would do the night shift.
I would
because the baby has to eat. You know, their stomach is like so small, so they lazima washinde wakikula. That's why you have to wake up every few hours.
But I want us to get back to the sleep training part, because I feel like maybe a lot of people don't know about sleep training, and of course I know most people do know about sleep training, but I've come to realize even some of the Americans, they don't know anything to do with sleep training.
Sleep training, you know? Pretty much is training your child to sleep on their own. Kwa sababu the whole idea is you know, a child anashinda akiamka every few hours.
Ananyonya. And then stay awake for just a few minutes, and then they go back to sleep. So pretty much at night, but up to some months, like you can't do it immediately after they are born, so they have to be at least 4 to 5 months. And the idea behind that is their stomach is big enough so they can keep food for more hours in their stomach. Because the whole point they're waking up is because they're hungry. They have to eat like every 2 hours. Like at about 4 months, their stomach is big enough they can keep food for like a good 6 hours even. So the whole idea is you let the child sleep on their own. But it's not easy, guys. It's not easy. Man, let me tell you, tuliko sana with my husband.
Hey.
Now we can laugh about it.
Hey. Nilikuwa nimekasirikiwa. Sasa acha niwatobolee siri. So sleep training is pretty much, you know, katoto kanalia, unakacha tu kalie, unakuja unampembeleza kidogo, then you let them cry, and then eventually they will stop crying and go to sleep. So when the child was crying, guess who was crying with the child? Walikuwa wanalia hapo kiwholesale. Sasa nimekasirikiwa.
Mbona ulikuwa unakasirikiwa?
Siju sasa sikukubali. I was holding her, you know, like alikuwa anataka kwenda kuchukua mtoto, namwambia hapana babe, the child is not in any pain.
Well, first of all, you have to put them in a different room, so you cannot sleep in the same room.
They have to be in a different room.
Yeah.
And then after, I think alilia maybe for like 15 minutes, wasn't even that long.
Are you talking about our first one or second one? The first one used to cry for like a whole hour. Zin.
Oh, it was an hour.
Why, Zin?
Babe.
The first night alilia for almost 45 minutes.
Honey.
You know, for you don't remember kwa sababu well, you don't remember photography.
Anyways, he probably did cry for like 30ish minutes.
30ish, 45.
Oh, okay, 45. We have a different. Unajua yeye for her alisikia ni kama 45, but
it was really long, almost an hour.
Yeah. Let's agree to disagree.
Yeah, but he cried long though.
But eventually alinyamaza na akalala. And then you know we have the thing, the monitor. Sasa tunamuona hapo, tunaona haya babe, amenyamaza. So eventually the whole house just went quiet. Haya amenyamaza. And so we went to his room. Tunachungulia hapo, tunaona kako halka
kamelala.
Hey.
So you let
we
the
had
child
a good night sleep. No, she had a good night sleep. Then the next day ananiambia, mbona hukuniambia tufanye hivi mapema? We should have done this earlier. But guys, that's the biggest secret I can tell anyone. Just sleep train your child so you can get back your sleep. You can get back to sleeping through the night, and in the morning you know.
But they usually advise you to start sleep training when your child has started eating like solid foods. Not just they can hold that longer. Because they can hold the food. The food can last a bit longer. So you don't sleep train until, well, I guess every parent is different. I know some parents who have done it a little bit earlier than
2 months.
Just in 2 months or even
2 months, 3 months.
But it's advisable. Even I think the doctors, they tell you it's okay to sleep train after they start eating solid food. If you need to learn about sleep training, please do it. It's gonna help you. It will definitely help you. It's not going to be easy, especially for us mothers. It's very hard because you can't bear to see your child continuously crying, you know. you just can't bear it, you know. You want to see your child just sleeping in peace, not crying, amelala vizuri, but hey, wanapiga nduru huko. Yeah.
All right. So the other one is every child is different. You know, their needs are different. And we say that because it's just like, you know, sisi watu wazima, we are all different. Like my wife and I, we are very different. Like what she watches, what I watch, what, you know, her favorite food is different from mine. Every child is different like that. So and sometimes as a parent, and you know, unaweza kajipata ukijiambia, hey, you know, na ule huyu alikuwa akilala vizuri, huyu alale vizuri, huyu mtoto mmoja maybe alikuwa friendly, you know, unajua watoto saa zingine they don't want mtu yote amuongeleshe. Wengine wako so they're like, everyone give me, you know, take me. And so you learn that every child is different, and they have, you know, their different needs, and they learn differently, they process the world differently, and you just have to take it na pace huyo mtoto. And that's where, you know, a lot of patience comes in too.
Yeah. So I wanted to go back a little bit. There's this term called stranger. So zile watoto wako.
Stranger danger?
No.
Nimerukililia yako.
So zile mtoto.
No.
Hawa hangoji, like he just
let's go.
So zile mtoi akiona strangers, they just start crying.
That's stranger danger.
It's not stranger danger. There's another term. It's called stranger.
Stranger things.
No, this man here, this man of mine.
I understand what you mean though. Like,
so sometimes kids get stranger anxiety, and this is something that most kids, they usually get it. Your child might not get it. So this is just heads up. When you see that, there's nothing wrong with that child. It's just that they're not used to strangers, you know. For us, we had COVID babies. So by the time they would see a lot of people, walikuwa wanapiga like nduru, wanalia kulia. So there's that anxiety that comes, but it goes away after a little while. It does definitely goes away.
And for those of you when you're curious, COVID babies does not mean our kids were born with COVID. It just means they were born
during COVID
time.
Yeah.
And it was a blessing in disguise because she worked from home and I happened to be.
I ended up working from home,
So it was good.
Yeah. And you definitely learn patience because you have to be patient with your child. I'm telling you, this is where your patience is tested. You become so patient with a child, and especially even when you're feeding your children. Sometimes they don't just eat. You know how you sit down, you eat, and you finish your food, right? With children, you keep, especially for my children, because they never sit down and eat. You know, I have to move around feeding them. He thinks I'm feeding the children all day long, but it's because they haven't finished the food that we started how many hours ago, you know.
They eat all day. Like whenever I come home from
eat
work,
all day.
I find them eating. I find wapatango akikula.
No, that's
then they eat from the time I enter the house. They're eating until they go to bed. I'm like, hey, babe, acha watoto wapumzike.
No, actually, what happens is that, let's say I've given them breakfast, right? They don't eat quickly until they finish, and then you move on to the next thing. Our toto, they will eat slowly. Like, there are times you will feed them, they don't want to open their mouth, so you're there with your plate holding it. Giving your child food. So the whole day you're moving, you know, ukiwapatia food, but that doesn't mean that they've eaten the whole day.
That's
it's
why
just that the food nilieka. Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. But the food that you ulieka during the day is the same food they've been eating the whole day. Sometimes it even gets cold, you have to go warm it, and then you continue giving it to them, you know. But you definitely learn to be patient. And the other thing, children, they open your mind to another level.
Oh, they do.
They do, because I feel like sometimes you can even forget about yourself and you're all thinking about your children. For instance, you think about you start planning ahead. Like, you want to put in savings for your children, you start thinking about, you need to start saving for their college, or you know, if there are some classes that you want your children to take, they've not started school, you know, you just think ahead. All you're thinking about, like, you want the best for your child, and all you're thinking about is, what can I do to make my child's life better? You know, because as a parent, you don't want to feel like a failure. You want the best for your child.
You want the best for your child. And also, even as a parent, sometimes you feel like you have like, the perfect word to use is unajisahau. You know, like, everything you do is just for them. And it comes so naturally. Like, before, you know, before we had kids, like, we'd go do shopping every now and then, we'd buy things for the house every now and then, you know. But watoto wakikuja, you know, like, I tell her all the time when she goes shopping, namwambia, babe, enda ujinunulie kakitu. Nakwambia atakuja na vitu za watoto, namuuliza, okay, ndio hizi za watoto, iko wapi yako? No, like, alienda she got things for the kids, and anambia, hizo zangu nitanunua tu siku nyingine, ni sawa. You know, your heart is so much for them. Everything is about them, really. And hata mimi, you know, as a father, you just want to provide for them, you just want to give them everything they need. And also, I think it has a little bit to do with the fact that you know, maybe growing up, you never had some things, and you're like, I would want my kids wakuwe na kila kitu kenye sikukuwa nayo. So, you know, sometimes unajipush kidogo ndio wapatie whatever they need, and it's good, but at the same time it can be bad.
Because you forget about yourself.
You do. And saa zingine I have to insist, I'm like, babe, get something for yourself. You know, you're always getting something for the kids, get something for yourself. And nitajinunulia. Then anaenda anajinunulia, alafu nilipata utu wa watoto hapa. Discount.
But all you think about is just your children. The other thing, you become so overprotective.
I think that also goes in turn with what we said
with what we talked about earlier.
You know, being sensitive to all children in general.
As I said earlier, like, you would rather something happen to you but not your child. You do whatever you can to protect your child, in terms of, even when other people are talking about your child, you're very careful, like, uko very attentive to make sure they don't say something negative about your child, and if they do, you're very quick to correct them. And I've learned, and this is something I think we can all learn, don't allow someone else to say something negative about your child and you're there adding to it, you know. If kama tu mtutu aseme aka nikatukutu, like, you as a parent don't add to it, useme aka nikatukutu, hata mimi nashindwa nitafanya nini. Like,
words are powerful.
Words are very powerful, and the Bible says life and death is in the power of our tongue. So whatever you speak, as you speak, you're creating life or you're creating death. So be very careful with your words, and it's okay to correct someone, kumwambia no, he's a good child, mtoto ni mzuri, and I'm praying that he's gonna be a good boy, she's gonna be a good girl, you know.
You have to be the advocate for your child.
And
saa zingine most of the time parents, they're sensitive to such things, hawatasema vitu kaizo, but saa zingine you know, if someone who maybe may not be a parent, or they might say some things like that, and as a parent, you know, you have to be there for your child. Namwambia hapana, usiseme hivyo, you know, usiseme hivyo, ama they might say something yenye is like to kujaribu kusema huyu mtoto atakuwa hivi,
you know,
don't
like, say anything,
like they're trying to almost say in their future atakuwa hivi ati is he doing that, ataenda kukua hivi, like no, ni mtoto tu, is ka stage katapita.
And for you who are single, maybe you don't have a child, be very careful with what you say about someone else's child, hata kama maybe ni family, you know, like, usikue tu kusema huyu mtoto anafanyanga hivi atakuwa hivi, hata kama si something ati very very negative, but it has some negativity to it, like, don't say it, because that day when you become a parent, you will realize the love that you have for your child, you wouldn't want anything negative spoken against your child, you know. So So be very careful with your words. If you're not a parent, just usiseme anything negative, I'd rather hold your tongue, don't say anything. If it's something positive, speak something positive, but if it's something negative, just don't say it. Yeah.
And the other thing also that we know, and everybody who has had a child, I think, can attest with is there's a song wenye waliimba na wakasema mtoto anakuja na sahani yake. Wahenga walisema
si wahenga
wahenga walinena wakasema Mungu akikupatia mtoto anampatia na sahani yake.
Ukisikiza kina nani hao?
Wahenga. And so what pretty much that means, and we did see it for ourselves, it's as zingine when you're having a child, you're like, oh my goodness, huyu mtoto amekuja, children are so expensive, which is very true. Kids are expensive.
True,
but from our own experience, and even our family, our friends, those people who have had kids, to know that huyo mtoto akikuja, somehow God makes a way for you to be able to provide for that child.
God, every child comes with their own blessing.
With their own blessing.
And
it's it's a major blessing kwa sababu you think uko na pesa kidogo ama your income is not enough, but huyo mtoto akikuja unakuta tu you provide for them, wanakula, wanavaa.
And I also feel like there are some doors open that they could have not opened if kama haungekuwa na mtoi. Unapata umepata job yenye haukuwa nayo before upate mtoto, na hii job ni even better sasa utaweza kuprovidea your child, know. So that's a very good point.
It goes back to pia for all you single people out there. That's the other thing pia, just like mtoto anakuja na blessings zake, marriage does the exact same thing. Right? Like Sazile, she was by herself and I was by myself. We were doing okay. But when we came together, man, we were doing really good together. Sababu, it's not just her and just me doing our own thing. Now we are combined and we become one. And now, we can face the world together. We can face, help each other with our challenges. And there's a big blessing that comes with marriage,
marriage,
like,
and this is to encourage people who are scared to get married because they think maybe it's hard, ama wenye wanataka kupata watoto but they are scared because they think saizi we are not there financially, but for sure God brings he brings special blessings for those particular things.
For especially for this is usually wanaume mnasema sitaoa kwanza lazima nipate pesa ndio niweze kuoa, but that's the wrong idea. And I hope a lot of men see this, and that's the wrong idea. It sounds right when you're talking about it, but it's really the wrong idea. You lose a lot of years ukisema you're waiting to be financially stable. Where else mkikuja pamoja you can build together, and actually you can do way much better together than ukiwa peke yako. And the same thing with the child. Watoto, if you're holding back because of financial issues, don't. Huyo mtoto if you want a child, just
trust God
for provision. God will provide.
And what really amazes me is that God has entrusted you with that child.
Wow.
So zingine naangalianga watoto wangu wetu ninashindwa like yani God, you saw us fit to be the ones to take care of these children.
Hallelujah.
And sometimes
I need to drink a glass of water to that.
And sometimes I remember even when our firstborn venye tulipata mtoi, I used to look at my baby and I'm like, I would even get scared. I'm like, this is my child. Nico, like, yani God, you have entrusted me with this child. Wow. And sometimes there's also, I don't know if other people experience this or you've ever felt this, but sometimes nilikuwa nina feel like, yani, yes ni wangu, but niko
yes,
like,
I have experience.
Bibata utangoja niseme. Sometimes uko like, yes ni wangu, I know this is my child, but then niko na that knowledge in me, ninajua this is not my child, like he's not mine, he belongs to God. Like that's how
wow, deep.
But and I do that even with my youngest. Even now, sometimes I look at them and I'm like, they are mine, but Nico, like, they are not like mine. They belong to God. They belong to Jesus.
Yeah.
He has just entrusted me to take care of them.
I look at them and I'm like, wow, they're hers.
To the next point. Oh, yeah, my point.
No.
It was a very good point, though. Honey.
Yeah, for real though. It's it's a blessing. Baby, I see you so passionate ukiongea kuhusu watoto, and so rightly so. Our watoto ni baraka, you know, and for God. And the reason why we say that is because we understand that, you know, watu wanakuanga na hardships za kupata watoto.
Yeah.
You know, we understand that it's there in the world, and anybody who's going through that, we just pray that God gives you that child. And so we do understand it's sometimes you want a kid, but inakuwa ngumu kupata mtoto. So it's a true blessing when God blesses you with a child. And like she's saying, like every time you look at them, just 2 days ago, I was looking at my kids playing around hapo wakicheza. They love playing together. Wanacheza hapo, wana dance, and I'm thinking, wow, yani, these are our children, and like these, they came from us. They're our DNA, and we have been entrusted by God, you know, to raise them up and build them to be the next generation.
Yeah.
You know, to take over the world. And it's you just see them, and it's such a blessing. Ani Mungu asante. Yeah, Mungu asante.
Mungu asante. And just to emphasize on something that you pointed out about maybe you're trying to have a child and you're not able to. The other thing I've learned, when you see a married couple na hawajapata watoi, don't be quick to kuwauliza, nyinyi mnapata watoto lini? You know, be very careful with your words, you know, like because you don't know, maybe those people they are trying, maybe they are trying, they are not able to have any children. So be very careful. Saa zingine si kutaka kwa mtu, you want a child and maybe you're not able to, but uko hapo unapatiwa pressure because, you know, your friends, and you could be saying it jokingly, and you don't know what's happening. So
you have to be very sensitive,
careful, with your words,
exactly, sensitive.
And the other thing, maybe even they have had a miscarriage, and then you're there telling them,
nyinyi tu mmebaki,
nyinyi tu hamjapata, mnachelewa, what are you guys doing? Bado and you don't know the pain they are going through. Maybe they are grieving, they've lost a miscarriage, you know, and they're not able to share that with anybody. So be very careful with your words.
Be sensitive to that. And for anybody who's going through that, you're trying to have a child, you know, we just pray that God gives you that child. And like my wife has said, for those people we've seen, maybe wamekuwa married for a few years, hawajapata watoto, and mostly to the Kenyan community, sometimes we become insensitive to that. The same way sometimes
what parents unajanipatia mjukuu,
ujanipatia and that goes back also to the point ile when ukifika a certain age na ujaolewa, wewe unaoa lini, umechelewa, you know, sometimes mtu wenyewe wametafuta either you know
the right person,
they can't find the right person, and when finding a life partner, you just can't rush into it because there's pressure around you. You have to wait, you know, until Mungu amlete in your life. And also for those men pia when you're saying you're waiting till you get money, you're wasting this lady's time. She's ready to get married. She doesn't care about your money. Wewe kuja ako hapa naomba Mungu niletee mtu, wewe huko unasema Mungu sioi until nipate pesa. Sasa wacha kuwestia sichana time. Just
we hope that you could relate to some of the points that we have talked about, and I hope that this was a blessing to you, because these are some of the things that we have learned and we would love to share with you all. So
and for every parent out there, I just want to tell you, you're doing a good job.
You are.
The fact that you're a parent and you're there for your child, that's more than enough for them. And you know, your kids love you. They might not say it to you because they don't know how, and eventually they get to a point they start saying it. They start telling you they love you. It is the best. It's the best feeling. Sasa zile mtoto wako anakuambia nakupenda. But
honey, that has reminded me something that I forgot to mention. I now appreciate.
That's what I was doing. I was trying to remind you. Now you appreciate.
Now I appreciate my parents so much.
Wow.
The fact that I became a parent, I really, really appreciate my parents because I see what they went through, you know, like the sacrifices they made for us, you know. I really, really appreciate all the parents out there. May God bless you. Na Mungu awabariki na waongezee na afanyie watoto wenu mema so that they can be a blessing to you all.
Yeah, and even to our parents, mom and dad, nawapenda sana. And even my mom-in-law, I love you so much, mom. You all did a great job.
Yes.
And
honey, that is so sweet of you.
You're welcome.
Sasa wapigie simu waambie that in person pia.
Nawapigia. Thank you for inviting me to your channel, honey. This was fun.
Thank you for coming. This was nice, yeah.
Thank you, Sasa.
Next time, please behave. So, tuongee tu
bila nini. I can't promise. I will try though. I will try.
All right, everybody, please make sure that you subscribe to our channel, and we will see you on the next one.
Naambia kuhusu channel yangu pia.
And my husband has a channel. Please make sure that you subscribe to his channel. And
DIY Oh My.
Yes, I will link his channel below so that you can be able to go and subscribe and like his videos. He's doing a very good job, by the way.
On my channel, you won't see my face. It's a faceless YouTube channel. I just do DIY videos, helping people fix stuff and stuff. I like that kind of thing. See you on the next one. Tupatane katika kipindi hicho chingine.
And if you really like what we have shared and you've liked our content, please make a comment. If there's something that you would like us to do together again, maybe talk about together, because I'm trying to encourage my husband to be here most of the time so that we can do these videos together. Ache kuwa behind the camera,
and
which he does, and you do a good job. Sasa hivi najishoot.
This AI is taking over my job.
Yeah, but if there's something that you want us to talk about, feel free to put a comment there. But yeah, please like, share, and subscribe.
Peace. Bwana Yesu anameremeta. Just keep it next vile ni noma. Kwa wa mama ana.
Kwa wa baba.
Upendi hiyo jina.